everybody. Welcome to the 11th edition of New Comic Wednesday, also known as NCW. If you haven't been with us before, we chat about our newest releases every Wednesday. So if you haven't seen past videos and you want to hear more about our latest issues, stuff that came out last week, weeks prior, you can go back and watch all of our old videos on Facebook or our YouTube channel. To buy our newest releases that we talk about today, you can head to our website, then go under comics, then new releases. And then you can also order on Comixology, or you can pick it up from your local comic shop. If they're not there, make sure you ask for us and they'll definitely order. So others can learn about our newest releases. Please share and like this post. It's great to spread the word. And today, especially, this has been my favorite book I've read so far. I'm very excited to talk about it. I think people will be super into this story. It's very, very relatable and definitely a very cool take on Hercules. So to learn more about our past releases, I mentioned before, or if you're looking for the past treasure hunt squares, you can watch our past videos on our YouTube channel. And like I said before, I will be unveiling a treasure square every NCW. So if you have a scratch off, I'll be unveiling at the end of the episode and you'll be entered. You'll find out on the scratch out if you've won a PS5, which are really, really hard to get right now. So awesome. So today we have another battle release, which is Grimm Spotlight, Hercules Payne versus the Scorpion Queen. I'm going to shoot up the banner right now. It's $5.99 in the web store. All three covers we're going to talk about today. Some really, really great covers. Cover A is actually my background right now. But before we dive in, as always, I'll be sharing some fun facts. I tried to brainstorm something around today's story, but we don't really have anything that's related to the storyline. There's no like myth or urban legends unless I miss something Joe will talk about later. So basically, I decided to just pick some random fun facts about today. So in 1934, Donald Duck was first introduced and it's actually his birthday today. So happy birthday, Donald Duck. And one of the greatest athletes to ever live, Secretariat, won the Triple Crown today in the 70s and is the only horse that was accelerating as he finished the race. So every quarter of a mile was faster than the other quarter of a mile. And he was also known because his heart was apparently 3 times the normal size for a horse at 22 pounds. And today's last fun fact is that it's the 11th edition of NCW and it premiered on June 9th. Oh, how weird that's happening right now. So let's chat about the issue. Here is cover A, which is my background again before. All of the artists that worked on the cover work again in the comics, so you can see it's $5.99 in the web store. As I said before, you can go on, buy from us. You can get it at the comic shop or you can see it on Comixology. I love cover A. He looks so lit up in cover A. And it kind of like gives away what might be coming in the storyline. Kind of seems like her hands are maybe controlling something that's going on in his mind. Cover B, really, really fun action cover between the two battle of characters. And then cover C is the Scorpion Queen. And she looks great. I love all three covers, really, really great. My favorite this week is cover A. So again, Grimm Spotlight, Hercules Payne versus the Scorpion Queen. $5.99 in our web store. And the synopsis I'll read before I bring on the co-founder and CEO of Zenescope, Joe Brusha. He's in the background. He's very excited to talk about today's issue. Andre Payne is just trying to get through life. That's not easy when you're the son of Zeus, obviously. Or when the Scorpion Queen decides that she wants you dead and your power for herself. Things just aren't easy when you're a demigod. I get that. Things aren't easy when I'm an NCW host. So I understand and relate to that really well. This standalone Grimm Universe stories puts the spotlight on Hercules Payne. So that synopsis really doesn't give away anything. And I think, nobody wants to give away any part of the story, but that's really telling to the story. So I don't want to give away too much stuff. So without further ado, I'll be bringing on CEO and co-founder from Zenescope, Joe Brusha. Welcome to the stream, Joe. I'm trying to add you. Yep. Oh, he unadded himself. There you go.
I didn't do anything. I'm not touching anything.
It's probably my horrible producer, Ralph. No, LOL.
Yes.
Ralph.
Hello, everyone. I have to take a little bit of issue with something you said, and right out of the gates.
No.
A horse cannot be an athlete.
What?
A horse is absolutely not an athlete. A horse is an animal. Animals are not athletes.
Okay.
I think Secretariat was great. And now that you told me that his heart was 3 times bigger than a normal, he's a cheater in some ways. Because that obviously gave him more energy. He could pump the blood faster, and it kind of taints his whole reputation. But I wanted to say that. I don't think a horse can be an athlete. I could be wrong.
Before we have too many hot takes right now, I disagree. And actually, I have a really heated debate with my boyfriend about who is the greatest athlete of all time. And the greatest athlete of all time, in my opinion, is probably Michael Phelps. But the second greatest athlete of all time is probably Secretariat.
Okay, I could go with your first one in some ways. Although, yes, most gold medals of any Olympic athlete, yes. I wouldn't have too much of an argument with that. Although I think Jordan and Jerry Rice are up there. I'd have to do a little bit of thinking. There's a lot of great athletes. Secretariat is nowhere on that list.
Wow, great movie.
Yeah,
my boyfriend's favorite athlete, or who he thinks is the greatest athlete, is Wayne Gretzky, which I also don't necessarily disagree with, but I think he's really good at hockey, like amazing at hockey. I don't know. I think Michael Phelps could be like a multi-athlete star.
I don't think Gretzky was very athletically gifted, honestly. He was a great competitor. So he's one of the greatest competitors, and I guess you say athlete. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree too much with that, I guess.
So
we're getting Secretariat out of there.
Rob is putting the banners on the screen. Quick fun fact before I leave. So fun fact about the Gretzky brothers. His brother actually only scored 1 goal when he was in NHL, and Wayne Gretzky has scored numerous. And they actually hold the record of the brother duo of goals, with him only scoring 1 goal, because that's how many goals that Wayne Gretzky scored. It's pretty insane.
That says a lot.
So, as again, what we're talking about today is we're talking about Hercules Payne versus the Scorpion Queen, $5.99 in our web store. So let's dive in. For those who have never read a Hercules or Scorpion Queen story, could you share some background on the characters?
So Scorpion Queen, this is pretty much her first appearance. So we were not going to reveal too much of that. She is connected to the Dark Princess saga that we've got going on right now. New to the universe, new to our universe, and new to the Grimm Fairy Tales universe too, because she came from another dimension. I'll let that go. Yeah, so there's nothing really, there's no background. This will be the first time that she appears in a comic. Andre Payne, we created that character, I want to say maybe like 7-8 years ago. And he's been, in my mind, kind of underutilized. I think he's a really cool character. He's got a pretty cool backstory with his, growing up in poverty in the ghetto, and his brother being a cop. And so, I think the original story is pretty good, which is Godstorm Hercules Payne. What else can I say about him? He's a demigod. Demigods are cool. I love Greek gods. I love Greek mythology. I don't think it's always done very well, but I think we do it awesome. So hopefully people will really jump in, and we've had a lot of Godstorm characters. We called them Godstorm, but Greek god characters such as Venus, and they never really got the popularity of some of our other characters. So I think we'll slowly bring them back, and I think Hercules is probably one of my more favorite, and I think he's a really cool character. So he's going to kind of be our Hulk in our universe, I believe.
Like I said before earlier, I think this is my favorite story that I've read so far, because I just felt he was a really relatable character. And, not to give away what happens in the story, but I didn't really see his emotional path is taking a very interesting turn. And what he thinks is right is not always right. And I think sometimes with superheroes, like he's a god, superheroes, what they think is right, and then it is right. But it doesn't really seem like that's the case for his character.
Yeah, and I think when you're this is kind of goes back to our Evil Heroes series. I think if you're a superhero, like, let's think about it logically. If I had superpowers, what are the chances I'm going to do good with them, right? Like when most people, the first thing they do is think of self-worth. And I mean, it's in Spider-Man, he goes for trying to, make money off his talent right away, and then he learns his lesson. We all know the story, but I think that's, what we aspire to be is in these stories. But in reality, what would you really do with superpowers? You'd probably go get as much money as you could out of them. That's what most people would do, or they would use it that way. So I think there's a little bit of that to this, a little bit of realism to how you would really, he doesn't do that, and I won't give it away, but he does use his powers for his own benefit. And
is that what Joe Brusha would do? Use his powers for his benefit?
I'll tell you what, I don't know. That's a tough question. It's hard. It would be hard, right? Like, who doesn't want a Ferrari, right? So like, if I have some kind of power and I can go get it, would I? Maybe I try and balance it, but
here's a hot take question. Would Ralph Tedesco use his powers?
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. I could tell you that right now. Yes. As the producer, just be honest, dude. I'm saying I might not, and you're going to say yes. Come on. Let's be honest.
So you kind of touched upon it earlier, but this is really her introduction as a character. But is that why you wanted to bring those two together so that this could be her like first storyline?
Yeah, and I think that we've given Hercules has his backstory, which came out in the original graphic novel, but we've never really delved into kind of the genesis of his power. So connecting it to the different realms that are in the Grimm Universe. The Scorpion Queen is connected to the same realm that he is. So I thought it was a good combination. And we kind of go into where his power comes from and how he can ascend with it, I guess. So, and she was a good foil for that.
Yeah. So I don't want to give too much away. I keep saying that because you were very generic on the synopsis, which means that you don't want to give too much away. But
that just means I didn't know the story before I wrote it.
Wow. What? Nobody just heard that. We know everything
that's not
months in advance. But Hercules is fighting a bunch of other monsters in this storyline too. Have we met any of these characters in the past? If not, where did the concepts come behind them?
No, so this is taken from the 12 Labors of Hercules. So that's it's a very popular mythology. But I wanted to kind of, with this story, instead of having it, I wanted to just show it in artwork, really, and not delve too much into those other characters. And there's going to be down the line, we'll reveal a little bit more of what happened, because now I don't want to give it away, but Hercules it has unfinished business in a lot of these situations. So, I just thought it would be cool to kind of take those 12 Labors of Hercules and put a little bit of a different twist on them. So you'll see some of the monsters and characters from that.
Cool. So by
the way, this is the last time you get me on here without prep questions, so I know what the heck I'm going to be talking about.
To be fair, I emailed them to you, I believe an hour ago.
You did?
FYI, yeah.
Well, I went to Chick-fil-A, so I didn't do that, and I had to do something with
sponsor Chick-fil-A right stuff. There.
Yeah. Is this Ralph doing this behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Funny boy.
Yeah. So before I pull you off really quickly.
But I answered them pretty well, I would say.
You did. You did really well.
I mean, you weren't expecting the Secretariat stuff, but I mean, that's something we'll talk about off the air. That's got come on.
We need to have a board.
What does your boyfriend say about Secretariat being an athlete? Does he consider him an athlete?
I believe so, yeah. I mean,
that's the next poll you send out, please. Send out a poll and go, can a horse be an athlete? No.
At my previous job, what we used to do is we had a whiteboard and like people would put their hot take questions on there, and then other people they'd be like, what do you consider a sandwich? And I would consider a Pop-Tart a sandwich, and I'm about to get a lot of hate for that. But
if you say the Cowboys, you might have told me the Cowboys before, and I forgot it. See, it's gone out of my mind.
I thought we were never going to tell Joe that.
You told me that, and I'm just ignoring it. I'm not allowing it to enter my consciousness. Because then every day I'll probably have to come in and throw something at you, especially once football season starts. Oh, Cowboys.
I'm a lifelong diehard Cowboys fan.
Okay, all right.
Them boys. But so quickly before I pull you off, what kind of fan, if they've never read our stuff in the past, like what kind of fans should be reading this story? Like if you're fans of Greek mythology, anything else?
Yeah, fantasy. It's kind of a fantasy Greek mythology. If you like those. I think a lot of Percy Jackson does it. There's I forgot what's the writer's name? I forget. Yeah, Rick something. Yes. Yeah. I'm a Cowboy fan too.
That's Adrian in The Office.
No, that's why when we have our retreat in a couple months, 2 people ain't going to come back. That's all I'm saying. I mean, they might not make it back. They might not make it back from the retreat. But yeah, I think that Rick Riordan, I think his name is, who does the Percy Jackson stuff, which I think is really cool. The book's better than the movies, and my daughter loves that stuff. But yeah, fantasy. Anybody who likes a cool fantasy story and seeing those characters reinvented and a different take on them would really enjoy this, I believe.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Joe, for joining us. I meant to say join, and then I said Joe. I'm definitely getting fired after this.
Yes, Joy. I am
Ralph,
joyful. I am a joyful person.
Should the next time we do this, sync up our shirts? So I'll wear my like Cowboys, like Tony Romo's my favorite player, my Cowboys shirt. You were okay. Wow, thanks so much.
The Cowboys won a Super Bowl.
Oh, wow, we're going here. I have a fun Eagles story that I'll tell you one day offline.
All right.
So
all right, well, thank you for having me on.
Bye. So in case you missed the entire interview and you just joined the end, you can rewatch this on YouTube. Again, this was with CEO and co-founder of Zenescope and an Eagles fan, Joe Brusha. So again, today's book is Hercules Payne versus the Scorpion Queen, which I think has been the best book I have read so far. I love the other books. I don't want to say that. But this story really, I don't know what it was. It was so relatable. I think Hercules has a really incredible internal struggle that I really enjoy. But again, cover A right here. Cover C, I skipped ahead. I apologize. Cover C right here and the square yet. So this week's squares, there's two, that's right, because we had Joe Brusha on. It was very special, are B10 and F9. Again, we're unveiling the treasure hunt square, B10 and F9. So scratch away. If you don't have a scratch off, how you get one is that you join our other streams where you can buy stuff. When you buy, you will get a scratch off card that will come with your order. You can rewatch all of the old videos to figure out what letters or numbers and squares have already been unveiled. And we've been doing NCW now for 11 weeks. Woo, woo. And I believe we've been unveiling squares for probably about 5 weeks, maybe 4. So you can go back and rewatch all of those. So right now, what is making its way out of previews, but I always love to highlight, is Possessive by Goldberg's creators. So I'm going to quickly show up this cover image, which I love. That's always in the background. This is going to be The Grudge meets Sarah Marshall. Everybody's really looking forward to this. It's been getting a lot of buzz. It's been selling super well on Diamond Previews. So that will be unveiled sometime in July. Thank you guys again. I sent out a survey link to everybody, and everybody's been very good about filling it out, and I'm so thankful for that. But in case you haven't filled out the survey link, I'm going to drop it in the comments right now. Share with other people. We're getting really good feedback so far. And because of these responses, I'm actually considering a special edition of NCW, which instead of it happening at 3 o'clock, I'm considering having it happen at 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern time, only because many of you say that it's really hard to tune into this show and our, midday live stuff because, you have a working job, or I know 3 o'clock's usually when people are picking up their kids from school, and we want everyone to be able to see this live because I know that you're trying to scratch off those treasure hunt cards, and I know that you want to learn more about our newest releases. So again, I'm going to try to move it back to 6 or 7 p.m. I think that's going to happen next Wednesday. Our latest podcast episode of Everything Zen dropped on Monday, and the interviews have a musical guest as well as Sabine Rich. So if you haven't checked that out yet, I'm also dropping it in the comments. I love all of you guys. I'm seeing that you guys might have just missed the treasure hunt square. So again, it's B10 and F9, so I can flash it up on the screen. I think Chuck might have just missed it, and they were going back and forth in the comments. So there you go, B10 and F9. Can you believe that we are only 1 week away from our next virtual con? It will be taking place next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and it is our Sweet 16. Gonna curl my hair. I forget exactly how the lyrics go. That was my beautiful singing voice for 3 seconds. I apologize, but these are the 3 days of the virtual con. We will be having a lot of fun games for our birthday. There'll be exclusives to buy. There'll be some one-on-one interviews, and we're interviewing horror icon Jason Voorhees, aka Kane Hodder. Very excited. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Our monthly movie club is meeting again in 2 weeks. I feel like these months are just flying by. So our next movie that we're chatting about is Predator. It's going to be June 25th, that Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern with our regular movie club crew and hopefully a guest. And finally, make sure that you tune in every Wednesday to hear us talk about our newest releases. That's it for the latest edition of NCW. This is Amber signing off, where you come for the beautiful covers, but you stay for the crazy stories like Hercules Payne versus the Scorpion Queen. See everybody next week.